Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's time for Rumble Wednesday, my exclusive for 24 hours. News look, midweek news report of all things geeky, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, stuff like that. So I found some news reports. I didn't find any yesterday, apart from the Section 31 thing. But we're going to have a look at a kind of a mention of that today. But we're starting off with The Mandalorian, which has just had its season finale. As usual, links are in the description, wherever it is on Rumble. It's down below, innit? Like everywhere. And don't forget, like and follow, subscribe, whatever they call it. I'll say subscribe. It says follow, doesn't it, on Rumble, but everybody thinks it's just the same as subscribe, innit? Share the videos, drop a comment, and all that stuff. It'll be on YouTube and me other things tomorrow. Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hang on, where are we? I nearly got the wrong thing there. Here's a clue for my Friday night appointment with Fear is this week. That's nothing to do with that, and nothing to do with Rumble, although it'll appear on Rumble on Saturday. Right, where were we? I'm also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Links for all that is in the description, as are the links to my 2 books, Silent Predator, a short horror novella, and Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action-adventure. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Kindle's cheaper, obviously. The paperback for Silent Predator's not too bad. A bit pricey for Mercury Rapids. I've tried to lower it, they won't let me. But, $12.95. A lot. You can pay more, can't you, for a lot of books? And it's a big, thick book. So anyway, give it a whirl. Right, so let's get this news up. All right, let's have an intro first, shall we? I'm so professional. I'm so processional, as me mum would have said. Right, where are we? Here's the window. And it doesn't pop up. Why hasn't it appeared? That's weird. You know why? Because I've not set it up, because I'm stupid. There we go. It'll pop up now. There we go. Tell you. Processional. Right, here we go. The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 8 review. This is from space.com, of all places. I've seen it. It's all right. I've done my flash review. That's on Rumble now. And YouTube, and etc. I've done my flash review, as usual. And I did quite enjoy it. I give this one a 7 out of 10. I did have nitpicks, which I cover in my flash review. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see my flash review? Shall I just play the bugger? Go on, let's just play the bugger there. What the heck? I'll go into my sources and go into media files. Will that work? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. See, I'm entering new territory here now. By the way, I'm recording this as live. It's not live, but it's going to be near enough. Mando. I'll just type that for the source. And I'll browse to my videos, tell you my folder names. And
Spoiler and nitpick alert. Episode 8 of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, The Return, showed us that there weren't any spies, plural, in the last episode. Anywho, Bo-Katan et al. Retake Mandalore from Moff Gideon, kill him apparently, and everybody lives happily ever after. Right, despite my upcoming nitpicks, I enjoyed this episode as a chunk of dumb fun. But, apparently, a Mandalorian jetpack can reach orbit, but not follow a pterodactyl.
I don't know if it's got any audio with it.
Impervious to lightsabers, except when it isn't.
But there we go.
Grogu can wield the Force like a boss, yet still cannot speak. Grogu woke up the mythosaur and...
I don't know. I didn't know if it were doing anything. We'll see. We'll see, won't we? As I said, there's going to be no edits in this, so you're getting what you see. I did have nitpicks, but we'll read this review from space.com first. Right, the final chapter of The Mandalorian Season 3 plays it safe to deliver a classic Star Wars conclusion and to take some weight off Din Djarin's shoulders. And there's Bo-Katan wielding the Darksaber, which ends up being, superfluous. Right then, we've spent a week praising Chapter 23 and the balance that co-writers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, alongside director Rick Famuyiwa, we still haven't finished the sentence. Struck between delivering weighty character moments and big spectacle. Hopes were high for the finale, and it mostly hit all the right notes. No unexpected pirouettes, though. What are you talking about? Season 3 has been an uneven but ultimately satisfying ride. Not really. And it's now clear that Favreau bet most of his chips on Bo-Katan. Favreau's not bet anything. He's phoned this one in. Really. Anyway, on Bo-Katan and the retaking of Mandalore. Grogu also solidified his position as the future bridge between the Jedi and Mandalorian cultures. And maybe it was Din who got the short end of the stick. Until this last episode, there wasn't much going on with him since he bathed in the living waters in Chapter 18 and then just sank like a rock. Everybody thought he got grabbed by some beast. Turns out he just sank like a rock. Anyway, here we go. Spoilers ahead for Mandalorian Chapter 24, The Return. And there's a screenshot of pew-pews, TIE fighters attacking the Imperial cruiser, isn't it? It's an Imperial cruiser. The return of who? Well, the Mandalorians to Mandalore, we guess. Maybe the return of IG-11 is the closest thing this episode has to a twist. It's hard to name. By the way, there were no spies in last episode. Remember the last episode was called The Spies, plural. How many spies were in it? I've no idea. I saw one. That were at the beginning that got Dr. Pershing. That's it. That was The Spy. And it said The Spies. I think John Favreau forgot about that. Anyway, it's hard to nail down what the last two titles were exactly referring to. Oh, there we go. As the spies set the internet ablaze for 7 days, only for the return to never answer that question. Exactly. If only the spies were Elia Kane and other reformed Imperials like her, who we haven't seen, then that was an odd choice for a title for Chapter 23. Exactly. Everybody was saying, it's going to be The Armourer, it's going to be Axe Wove. Is that his name? Axe Woves, whatever. Who else were there? I don't know. And they were saying others. And it were none of them. Although the recap puts the focus on the cloning subplot, Dr. Pershing never comes back into the picture. I'm presuming he's dead. And we have to wonder, or lobotomised. And we have to wonder whether we'll see him again at all. What does come up later in the episode is the endgame of his and Moff Gideon's research, giving a resolution to the plotline that kicked off the show. We saw vats of clones of Moff Gideon. By the way, I was watching a live stream. I can't remember where it was, which one it was. It was either like Midnight's Edge or Geeks and Gamers or Nerdrotic. I can't remember which one it was. But somebody read out like a super chat or a chat message, whatever. Somebody read one out. And whoever wrote that knew this episode because they said there were going to be clones of Moff Gideon and also something else. And another thing that I can't remember what. But they predicted what were going to happen. And it happened. Back on Mandalore, Bo-Katan and the remaining members of the party that got tricked hard in Chapter 23 are getting to safety and waiting for reinforcements to head back into Gideon's base. A rescue of Din isn't needed, though, as he frees himself with Grogu's timely help, even before the title credits roll. A helmetless face-to-face with the main villain would have been nice before things got hectic, but Favreau, sole writer once again, on the back of a cigarette packet or whatever, I don't think he smokes, but, on a napkin, his notes on a napkin that he just handed over to a PA, and he said, there's the script for episode 24. Send it. Had other plans in mind. We have to guess Pedro Pascal really was quite busy with HBO's The Last of Us. Yeah, he literally phoned in this season because he wasn't even in it. It was Brendan Wayne, which probably explains The Walk, and is it Lateef Crowder? Something like that. I do apologise if I got them names wrong. Essentially, by the way, there's Grogu in his stupid IG-12 suit, with his no and yes and Anyway, you know what it reminded me of as well when you're walking about? It reminded me of C-3PO in Phantom Menace, without his coverings. I'm naked? Oh my. Anyway, Essentially, the return feels like your average Star Wars finale on a smaller scale. I don't know, quite epic, to be honest. Quite a big battle scene. Cool effects. Like I say, well, toys. It's pew, pew, pew. Kids playing with the toys. That's what it is. I ain't got any. They're all over there and places. I've none to hand. Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, the good guys are in trouble, and there's a starship battle, a cool-looking duel, and armies clashing with some neat moments. Because of that, and because Famiyiwa's direction remains strong, it's hard to get mad at the safest season finale the show has had so far. In fact, it feels like an amped-up version of Chapter 8 that reminds us of how far the main characters have come before ending Gideon's threat for good. Perhaps the biggest surprise comes from outside the episode itself, and is something that affects the entirety of Season 3. There has been a distinct lack of big Star Wars cameos versus Season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett. As scattered and often redundant as the narrative has been, we can say The Mandalorian limited itself to being The Mandalorian this time around, even if it did recycle bits and pieces from the cancelled Rangers of the New Republic spin-off show. I think that's why he's phoned it in, Jon Favreau, because he's still hurting from that, the firing, the not renewing of Gina Carano. As mentioned before, there are no spies to be found among the Mandalorians who followed Bo-Katan into battle, so Axe Woves gets to the fleet before the Imperials and orders everyone to abandon ship and reinforce Bo-Katan's forces on the surface of the planet. By the way, obviously Mandalorian suits, are pressure suits as well, because you can fly into space with them. I nearly swore then. The lack of treacherous Mandos is one of the season's many red herrings, with the second being the Mythosaur factoring into the resolution, or not. More on that later. Meanwhile, R5-D4 continues his personal odyssey. Oh, I'd forgot about that. I'd forgot about that bit when I did my review. Mouse droids with sirens on and bloody red and lights and stuff flashing. That were rubbish, that bit. Anyway, meanwhile, R5-D4 continues his personal odyssey and helps Din navigate Gideon's base, shutting down the laser gates we saw in the last episode. R5's heroic deeds, after being denied a spot in Luke Skywalker's story, is one of the many little things we enjoyed about this season, and the A New Hope vibes of his scene, hacking the system and dealing with pesky mouse droids, were very welcome, and it was dumb. By the way, R5-D4's, rockets that he can fly about with, they still work. R2's didn't, did they? And they explained, it were out of warranty. I think that's how Rick, what's his name, the producer, Rick McCallum, I think that's how he explained why R2-D2 didn't have his rockets in, the original trilogy, because he was out of warranty. Well, apparently R5-D4 wasn't. There's the clones of Moff Gideon. One of them opens its eyes, and then Din Djarin blows them up. Anyway, after clearing the path to Gideon's command centre with some sick melee moves that instantly made Din cool again, we see that Gideon's cloning program was all about himself. It's presented as this huge reveal, but the writing was on the wall after the last episode. Project Necromancer surely has to do with Palpatine's return, and or Snoke's creation, but the script underlined that project had nothing to do with Gideon's own agenda, even though both endeavours use Pershing's cutting-edge research. Gideon himself also confirmed shortly afterwards that his ultimate goal was to put the Force into himself and his clones. Again, something that was pretty much established last episode with his expository dialogue after capturing Din. It underlines why Grogu was so important to his research and is another strong callback to storylines from the Legends canon, including the cloning of Starkiller in The Force Unleashed 2. So I never got past the first one, to be honest. You know what? As far as I got in that, in the first one, the bit where you're in the Death Star weapon thing, I just kept dying in that. I'm rubbish at games. Anyway, so yeah, midichlorians are very much mattered in the long run. And there's Bo-Katan wielding the Darksaber with the armourer by her side, who we all thought were going to be a baddie because she's got horns on her helmet. A brief respite underground before the decisive battle gives Bo-Katan an almost surreal look at the beauty of Mandalore that still survives in some hidden places. It's the last push the different factions of Mandalorians need to feel re-energized and ready to take the fight to Gideon's troops. But remember, they were all starving. The the Mandalorian pirates, or whatever they were, on their pirate ship, they were all starving, weren't they? They said they were anyway, because they'd been there since, the purge. And they're asking if they had any food. And then we found out this episode they've been planting food, with crops and stuff. The ensuing large-scale clash is pretty spectacular and reminds us of how freaking cool Mandalorians can be. The highlights come from Bo-Katan leading the charge with the Darksaber, and, all these stormtroopers with Beskar armour, the lightsabers just, cutting through them. I thought Beskar repelled lightsabers, but obviously only when it needs to. The armourer going wild in melee. Yeah, they're all armouring up, all, kitting out. She's got a Darksaber. All the other Mandalorians got their blasters and stuff and rockets, and the armourer's there with a bloody hammer and tongs. Oh, dear. By the way, is it Emily Swallow? Is she just doing the voice and they've just got a stunt person in the arm? Or is she doing the motion, whatever it is? Is she in there, Emily Swallow? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. Where were we? Even when flying, but the entire thing, once we get over the lack of spies and curveballs, feels like the logical finale to the Mandalore storyline told so far in this show. The final duel between Din and Gideon is tense, as the Imperial Warlord is anything but a pushover and makes good use of his shiny Beskar-covered Dark Trooper suit, which is full of gadgets as well, and also gives him a Darth Vader voice. We half expected him to also reveal he was a Mandalorian once, given his obsession with their weapons and culture, but that never came. Because John, he didn't have time in his lunch hour to write that. It didn't occur to him. While we were worrying about Din's life, Grogu also gets himself into big trouble with the Praetorian Guards. Those red guys sure like to make dramatic entrances. Unsurprisingly, the IG-12 mech suit lasts 2 seconds once they start slashing at the foundling, so he has to resort to Yoda flips to survive. And he seems to be giggling as well. It looks as though he's enjoying himself, the little bastard. Once again, it was hilarious to see a small puppet in distress jumping and running around. We also see him walking later on, and I killed myself laughing at that. It was hilarious. It's only walking behind. Oh, you've got to see it. I'm sure you have. After struggling with Gideon for a while, Din gets to Grogu and manages to take out the guards with his little son's help. This is only possible because Bo comes down for the rematch Gideon owed her. Again, the traditional Star Wars vibes took over most of this episode, and their duel leaned hard on the Luke versus Vader showdowns, and even pays homage to Finn versus Phasma in The Last Jedi. Did it? I don't know. Few said so. And there's all fire and stuff there. What's happening here is the Imperial, the Mandalorian. Can you see? Oh, there we go. What's happening here? The Mandalorian Imperial cruiser Axe Wolves crashes it into the base. A bit recklessly, if you ask me, but never mind. Crashes it into the base to take it out. And what's happening here? We've got Grogu and Din and Bo-Katan. They're just like crouched down as though they're going to shelter Grogu, who's there. Look, Bo-Katan activates her arm shield. Like that's going to protect her from all this fire that's on its way. There's Moff Gideon in his Darth Vader suit. All this fire's going to come. And then it all comes over them, and they're fine. Maybe they were expecting to die. I don't know, but they're fine because Grogu, who later becomes Din Grogu, it's obviously Din Djarin. Din is the family name. It must be. There you go. Anyway, Grogu does I forgot his name now. Kanan Jarrus in Rebels, and makes like a force field, literally force field over them, and the flames go over the top and saves them, which kind of also had a bit of a we are Groot thing, but he didn't say that. Should have said we are Grogu, shouldn't he? His first words. Right, much like Captain Phasma, Moff Gideon is consumed by the flames after Axe Woves drops a whole Imperial light cruiser onto his base. Woves doesn't even have that much screen time in Chapter 24, but he's low-key as much of an MVP as Bo and Din. By the way, the Darksaber is no more too. Leadership won't be linked to a weapon anymore. The amplified Chapter 8 energy... what does that mean? I don't know. Returns when Grogu shields himself and his 2 Mando Guardians with the Force from the hellish flames. No small nap required afterwards, although he did sit down. He's a well-trained Padawan now. Yeah, but he still can't speak, can he? He's a boss with the Force, but he still can't talk. Little shit. Sorry, I don't like Grogu. He gets on my nerves. So, what's up with the Mythosaur? Well, we do witness a ceremony at the Living Waters, bookending the season with the baptism of Ragnar Vizsla, who we'll surely meet again. Din and Grogu's father-son arc is also completely resolved here, with the titular Mandalorian, now that Bo-Katan has done her thing, officially adopting him, which allows our cute friend to fully become a Mandalorian named Din Grogu. Yes, we also have many questions regarding the Mandalorian naming conventions. Yeah. Grogu reaches out to the Living Waters and clearly senses the Mythosaur, which seems to react back as well. No kaiju-sized monster wrecking the Imperial base, nor Din or Bo riding it to reclaim the planet. Jon Favreau used the legendary beast on a more spiritual level, and that's... He didn't. That's a Dave Filoni thing, I bet. And that's kind of cool when all is said and done. Grogu's destiny is now fully linked to Mandalore and its people. As for Bo-Katan... By the way, as for Bo-Katan Kryze, well, it appears she'll finally get her true chance to rule over Mandalore, all Mandalorians, now that the Empire's presence has been cleansed from the planet. She'll remain a centerpiece for the overarching narrative moving forward for sure, but it might be a while before the spotlight is put on her again. There she is in front of the Great Forge, doing whatever she's doing. Oh, yeah, Bo-Katan likes the Great Forge. That's what she was doing. You know what? I don't actually remember that bit. I was probably all bleary-eyed and tears streaming down my face after Din Grogu was named. The final stretch of the episode sees Din and Grogu visiting the New Republic base we saw earlier in the season. Dave Filoni and other creatives of background cameos. Yeah, he's got a cowboy hat on. But we didn't know Zeb. Oh, right, but Zeb doesn't show up. They probably couldn't afford the CG. Saving it for Ahsoka. It's just a conversation between Carson Teva and the Mandalorian regarding work. Let's not forget Din was a bounty hunter before he got roped into this whole mess, and there are many high-value targets out there, so maybe he can put his skills to good use while helping the New Republic take down troublesome individuals. He says he's doing it. It's basically like an off-the-books thing, because Carson Teva says it doesn't think he'll get permission, and Mando just says, well, don't tell him. So it's going to be like a backhanders sort of thing. So there'll be no tax to pay. Anyway, we also check back with Grief Karga, who still wants to give Din and his son. He's officially a space dad now. Yes, he said, I will adopt him as my very own. He said that back on Mandalore. I must admit, I did get a bit lip quivery. Because I'm a pushover. I am. I'm a pushover. A kid over the road, a kid that lives over the road from me, he was crying the other day. I think his friend had hit him, and he started crying. And I thought, shall I go and see if he's all right? And then I thought, nah, his mum will sort him. Anyway, I came back in, and I got all emotional because this kid had been crying over the street that I don't even know his name. Anyway, tell you I'm a pushover. Where were we? Grief Cargo still wants to give Din and his son a home on Navarro, and this scene suddenly becomes Christmas, or should we say Life Day, as Din has also fixed IG-11 with the parts he desperately needed earlier in the season and which Carson Teva provided in the scene before. Was that IG-88's destroyed head? We may never know. Well, if you want, I suppose. Although some say that IG-88 were on Cloud City. That we saw him, in the where the Ugnaughts were when Chewie found C-3PO in bits. There's some people say IG-88's there in the background, don't they? And the backstory is something. But he got there first, but Boba Fett, destroyed him, shot him, or whatever. That's the Legends explanation, I suppose. Yeah, well. But one thing's for certain: Taika Waititi has now replaced Gina Carano as the Marshal of Navarro. And he also gets his little cottage. This is how it ended, with Din reclining on his patio, his porch, and Grogu torturing a frog there, making a frog like spin in the air, because he's a little shithead. That's why. The season ends with Din and Grogu taking some well-deserved rest in the outskirts of Karga's town, cottage included. By the way, I bet you ate that frog afterwards. This episode overall feels like a soft ending for the show. By the way, I also had an iris in on Grogu, and then just ended. It was like a bloody Looney Tunes. Blip, blip, blip. That's all, folks. And which I did in my flash review. Anyway. Feels like a soft ending for the show so far and frees the main characters from their many obligations to the larger narrative that will now evolve through the Ahsoka show. These two will, of course, return sooner rather than later. Season 4 is already in the works, but a new horizon of possibilities has opened up for the next chapter of their own story. But it'll be more episodic, Season 4, if it happens. Was Season 3 good? Because the rumours are Jon Favreau's out. That's the rumour. It's probably written down notes. Some have said, he's written Season 4. He didn't even write Season 3. He wrote notes, I imagine. So he's probably written notes for Season 4. But apparently, the rumour is out, that he's gone to do other things. But you know what rumours are like. Rumours were that Din Djarin were going to die in this episode. That didn't happen, did it? Anyway, was Season 3 good? Yes. Well, yeah. Could the writing have been better? Also, yes. But we can argue it's perhaps the most thematically rich of all 3 seasons so far. Even when its shots didn't land or its commentaries on religion and politics felt a bit murky. Its biggest success is giving fans and casual viewers alike a proper look into Mandalorian culture and their post-Empire diaspora. I've never known how to pronounce that. Diaspora, isn't it? How do I pronounce it? Diaspora. All while retaining the adventure of the week feeling for the most part, and that's no small feat. Maybe Favreau could use an actual writer's room to really chew on some of the richest ideas being thrown around, but this is still the way, and there we go. I think the writer's room, quotes, probably did more on this season than Jon Favreau did. As I said, he's probably written his notes on a napkin or a post-it note each episode, what it's going to be about, and just sent his PA with a post-it note across town. And that's how they did it. But yeah, so there we go. So like I said, but I did enjoy it. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It could have done with a after credits scene, to take us into Ahsoka, which is coming in August. It could have done with something like that, but it didn't. So there you go. Like I said, it just ended on a Looney Tunes ending, an iris in. Not like a Star Wars iris, that the iris. Actually, the iris is out, doesn't it? And it shows us who directed by like that. Not that. With a fuzzy edge. No, a hard-edged iris in. Anyway. But as I said, I did enjoy it. Give it a 7 out of 10. I did have nitpicks. Like I say, you can fly a Mandalorian jetpack into orbit, but it don't carry enough fuel to follow a pterodactyl to its nest. But it'll take you into orbit, 100 kilometres. Fine. And they can breathe, and it's pressurised and everything. It's cool. And yes, they didn't have any trouble with fuel in this episode, their jetpacks, but never mind. Obviously, they didn't want to get that kid back. Only thanks to Bo-Katan that they did. And even then, they took the time, didn't they? But never mind. Yeah, and the Darksaber is no more. I've got to admit, I wasn't a big fan of the Darksaber. You know, black lightsaber. It doesn't make a lot of sense, really, does it? But never mind. But that's no more. Surely they could have fixed it, you know. Or maybe Grogu will fix it and it'll become his lightsaber. You know, he's a Jedi after all. Anyway, right, we'll leave that there. Got half an hour on that. Christ. Right, we'll move on. Galaxy Quest TV series in the works at Paramount. This is from comingsoon.net. And there's the original cast of the original movie. There's, was it Lelani, whatever they call it? I can't remember the names. But there's the late, great Alan Rickman. Oh, me and names. Late, great Alan Rickman. Which, in my view, kind of jeopardises the whole thing and takes the polish off it for me. But anyway, a Galaxy Quest TV series. Hang on. There we go. A Galaxy Quest TV series in development at Paramount Plus, based on the 1999 cult classic sci-fi comedy movie, according to a recent report from The Hollywood Reporter. The project, which is still in the early development stages, will be produced by Mark Johnson, who was an executive producer on Breaking Bad, as well as the producer on the 1988 classic film Rain Man. According to the report, the people behind the upcoming Galaxy Quest TV series are still searching for a writer to pair with Johnson. Is this the same Mark Johnson who did Daredevil? That was Mark Johnson, Mark Stephen Johnson or something, wasn't it? Because, you know, it's a claim to fame. It's got my name in it. Maybe not, probably not, I don't know. A Galaxy Quest TV series has been rumoured to be in the works for some time, pretty much since the film came out, with Paramount TV Studios, originally looking to make one in 2015. That version of the project was eventually sold to Amazon and came from the writer of the original film, Robert Gordon. However, the project eventually fizzled out, never making it past the development stages. Paul Scheer would eventually take over the writing of the script for a series from Gordon, but plans were put on further hold following the death of actor Alan Rickman, who starred in the original film. Originally released in 1999, Galaxy Quest was both a parody and homage to the world of science fiction films and series, especially Star Trek. One of the first films I got on Blu-ray, DVD. That's the Region 1 DVD, because I had a Region 1 player, and I ordered it from, what were it called? It was a website that were really good at getting Region 1 DVDs, and I can't remember. It were bought out, and it became something like Rakuten or something, and they became rubbish. So I stopped. I used to buy loads of stuff from them, and then they were bought out by another company and turned rubbish, and stopped using. But yeah, I probably still got it somewhere, maybe. Or did I sell it? Did I eBay it? I could have done. Anyway, never mind. Galaxy Quest was both a parody and homage to the world of science fiction films and series, especially Star Trek. The film followed the cast of a fictional cult television series, Galaxy Quest, as they're actually transported into an interstellar conflict against actual aliens. The film starred Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, and Daryl Mitchell. That's it. There we go. That's it. So there we go. So hopefully it'll be all right. I don't know what will they do. Will they bring all these back, which the ones they can? Maybe him. Don't know. Tony, you can just make out Tony Shalhoub there behind. Hang on. Can you see me mouse pointer? That's Tony Shalhoub there. But yeah, no Alan Rickman as Dr. Lazarus. Will they recast, or will they say he's passed away and they'll just have another character of the same race? I don't know. But you think a name like Dr. Lazarus, he could come back from the dead. Maybe they'll write that in. Will they think of that? Don't know. Anyway, so there you go. So hopefully that will work out. We will see. And hopefully it'll just be a straight-up comedy. And it will still be about, TV stars going into space and doing the things that, by day, they are TV stars starring in Galaxy Quest. the TV series that we saw came back at the end of the film, and by night they are actual going out into space and fighting bad guys. There you go. That's your premise. Anyway, here we go. We have amazing news if you love Star Trek movies. Good news! To all of you Star Trek fans with a Paramount Plus subscription, there are plenty of exciting Star Trek movies planned to be heading your way. And look, Patrick Stewart seems ecstatic about it, doesn't he? This is from the Digital Fix. Right. It is time for every Star Trek fan to brace themselves for big news, because according to some inside sources via The Hollywood Reporter, again, I should have just gone to that website, shouldn't I? A plethora of new movies are on their way. Plethora. Oh. Hack Kurtzman's Star Trek franchise on the streaming service Paramount Plus has been hitting it out of the park lately when it comes to exciting announcements. Recently, i.e. yesterday, a new Star Trek movie, Section 31, was announced with Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh attached to star. It was supposed to be a series originally. It's been in work for, 6 years, 7 years, 5 years? I don't know, whatever. Let's say 5 years. Been in the works for 5 years. As a series, Section 31 series, but now she's become super famous and she probably got a super high price tag. And she's super busy, probably, so they couldn't pin her down for a series. So she said, I'll do a film. You can have me for a week. Tops. Anyway, and now the Hollywood Reporter has stated that there are plans for Kurtzman and company to do a Star Trek made-for-streaming movie every 2 years for Paramount Plus. Yep, you read right. A new Star Trek movie every 2 years. While this statement is yet to be confirmed by Kurtzman or Paramount, the concept is enthralling. And with the Star Trek series Picard wrapping up, yes, this week, and Star Trek Discovery set to finish in early 2024, yay! Should have finished after Season 3. There is plenty of space in the IP to explore new adventures. While we don't know what the next Star Trek movie after Section 31 will be just yet, the aforementioned, I don't even want to see their Section 31 movie for a start. The aforementioned flick will begin production later this year, and there is plenty of content to hold fans over as the Discovery spin-off sci-fi series Strange New World Season 2 is set to return in June. We should note that these films are for Paramount Plus, thus likely making them separate from the nascent Star Trek 4 starring Chris Pine, which is never going to happen. The animated series Star Trek Lower Decks has also been renewed for a 5th season. Don't care, hate it. And fans can watch a number of other Star Trek properties via Paramount Plus now. Stay tuned for more updates. That's it, yeah. There we go. So, new Star Trek film on Paramount Plus every 2 years from Alex Kurtzman. But it doesn't happen. It's a Kurtzman plan, isn't it? It'll not happen. It'll not happen. Anyway, whatever. Right. Dave Filoni attempts to justify contradicting Star Wars canon. People forget just the special nature of telling a good story and creating great characters. And there he is. Sans cowboy hat. This is from Bounding Into Comics. Could get spicy. There we go. That's the last scene. Well, not the last scene. One of the last scenes in Mandalorian. There's Dave Filoni with his cowboy hat on. No sign of... go away, you. No sign of Zeb Aurelius. But we've got a roadie in there. Don't know who he is. And there's Carson Teever. And I don't know what race she is, but she's got the same hair as Peli Motti. Is that what you call her? The mechanic on Tatooine. I thought it were her that had fallen on hard times. Right. While speaking to Screen Rant at Star... I've missed a bit. Oh no. Star Wars Ahsoka writer and executive producer Dave Filoni recently attempted to justify contradicting Star Wars canon. I mean, he's contradicted his own canon. While speaking to Screen Rant at Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London, England, Filoni first asserted that the current creators of Lucasfilm are a great group. Is that what he's saying? That? Yeah, probably. He said there's a great group of creatives now working in Star Wars. The truth is, there have always been great creatives throughout the history of the franchise, working, exploring, telling different stories. Filoni then turned his attention to Star Wars canon, saying, people get into all of these debates of what's canon and what's not, and sometimes forget just the special nature of telling a good story and creating great characters. But you've got to stick to your canon, haven't you? You can't just mix stuff up willy-nilly and contradict what's happened before. You know, it is a saga. Part of the fan debate in the past always used to be what's canon, what's not. Because there was George, and we always knew George was the canon. I looked at it very broadly and just say, there's just a love of Star Wars. Because I knew George, I worked with him. Still alive, you know. I work with him. None of us are going to be with him, but we love the galaxy he created, and we are very much a product of it. Growing up with it, he concluded. Maybe it means he knew George, because George is no longer, part of it. Maybe he's been banned from the ranch. Back in November 2020, Filoni made it clear he was open to changing Star Wars even past physical descriptions of characters. He was asked by Vanity Fair what else had to happen as part of the transformation into Ahsoka. By the way, when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, did he sell the ranch as well? Because some stuff's based at the ranch, innit? I know he moved a lot of it to the Presidio in San Francisco or whatever it is, didn't he? Does Disney own the ranch as well? And George Lucas now just a tenant? I don't know. Go away, princess. My cat's on the windowsill. Anyway, back in November 2020, Filoni made it clear he was open to changing Star Wars even past physical descriptions of characters. He was asked by Vanity Fair what else had to happen as part of the transformation into Ahsoka. Filoni responded, I said, well, Ahsoka's eyes are blue and yours are not, but I don't want you to worry about it. If you don't want to go for that, we can just say that in this version they're not. He was going to reveal that Rosario Dawson rejected this suggestion for the live-action appearance of Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, and Rosario insisted. She's like, no, let me try it. Good for Rosario. Filoni's comments about canon are not unheard of when it comes to Lucasfilm employees. Star Wars Story Group member Matt Martin noted back in 2020 that Star Wars canon is all fake anyway. After a lengthy Twitter thread attempting to explain his position, Martin summarised it, writing, so to summarise, there is a reason that we need to internally know what is and isn't canon so we can keep our line of official storytelling as aligned as possible, but that doesn't mean fans can't individually pick and choose what they want to accept as true. He then added, it's all fake anyway, so you can choose to accept whatever you want as part of the story. It'll be one of these that says, oh, well, it's just for kids. It's about space wizards. It's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those. However, the issue that both Martin and Filoni seemingly failed to take into consideration is one J.R.R. Tolkien specifically highlighted in his essay on fairy stories. Tolkien wrote, what really happens is that the story maker proves a successful sub-creator. He makes a secondary world which your mind can enter. Inside it, what he relates is true. It accords with with the laws of that world. You therefore believe it while you are, as it were, inside. Yeah, that's what canon's all about. When you're a writer, you create a world that you want the reader or the viewer to believe. You want it to be a believable world that you can, explore yourself, in your own head canon. And that's what fans do. They adhere to the rules of the world that they are fans of, and make their own stories and try and keep it to, they follow the rules of that world. But obviously the official writers don't care about that. The moment disbelief arises, Tolkien goes on, the moment disbelief arises, the spell is broken, the magic, or rather art, has failed, he continued. You are then out in the primary world again, looking at the little abortive secondary world from outside. If you are obliged by kindliness or circumstance to stay, then disbelief must be suspended or stifled. Otherwise, listening and looking would become intolerable. This is why Star Trek fans struggle with the Kurtzman, trek, because suspension is it's supposed to be suspended. No, not suspension. Belief is supposed to be suspended, but you can't. Anyway, but this suspension of disbelief is a substitute for the genuine thing, a subterfuge we use when condescending to games or make-believe, or when trying more or less willingly to find what virtue we can in the work of an art that has for us failed, Tolkien asserted. And there's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. By breaking the rules of the universe and story or changing the canon, you are in fact pushing people outside of the secondary world. You are creating disbelief in the people you want to stay immersed in the story. Thus, no matter how hard you might try to create great stories or great character, you will fail because you have ignored the laws of the world. Remember the Rings of Power? Clearly, Filoni and other creatives at Lucasfilm have not learned this lesson and seemingly don't have any intention of doing so, which will more likely than result in driving more and more people away from Star Wars, given they can't stay in accord with the laws of Star Wars that were made before their time. What do you make of Filoni's comments about Star Wars canon? Filoni broke canon himself, didn't he? In The Bad Batch, episode 1 of The Bad Batch. But it showed a Jedi, what happened to a Jedi and a Padawan at the beginning of the Bad Batch. When Order 66 were going on, it had already been established what happened to these two. I can't remember the names. It had already been established in canon, either in what's supposedly a canon comic or a canon book or whatever. I can't actually remember. But Filoni changed it, into on-screen canon and, changed what happened. And anyway... Who's that? Shin Hati Ivana Sakno in Lucasfilm's Ahsoka exclusively on Disney Plus. I must admit, I'm quite looking forward to Ahsoka. And I just hope they don't bugger up the canon. But anyway, so there you go. Canon is important, and it is important to fans. And fans are the ones that pay your wages, after all. So, respect the fans. First up. Right. Last Voyage of the Demeter, first trailer for sea-based Dracula horror, based on a single, this is from sci-fi now.co.uk, based on a single chilling chapter from Bram Stoker's Dracula, classic novel Dracula. Check out the trailer for the Last Voyage of the Demeter. The legend of Dracula is born, and there he is looking very Nosferatu-y on the ship, the Demeter. Because that's how he got to Whitby, innit? He sailed on the Demeter from Whitby and killed all the crew on the way. Out this summer, the crew of the merchant ship Demeter must face a great evil on board in the upcoming Dracula horror movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Watch the first trailer here. We'll have a look in a minute, but we'll have a read first. Based on a single chilling chapter from Bram Stoker's classic novel Dracula, which I've read a long time ago, but it's all right. I'm not a big fan of classic literature because I find it a bit of a slog. Because language changes, doesn't it? And sometimes they're a bit florid. But anyway, The Last Voyage of the Demeter tells the story of the merchant ship Demeter, which was chartered to carry private cargo, 50 unmarked wooden crates from Carpathia to London. Strange events befall the doomed crew as they attempt to survive the ocean voyage, stalked each night by a merciless presence on board the ship. So it's speaking about Alien, innit, or The Thing. When the Demeter finally arrives off the shores of England, it is a charred, derelict wreck. There is no trace of the crew. So how are they going to do this then? It might say in a minute, I don't know, I've not read the article. But there can't be a hero, can there? Because everybody dies. Or do they? It could be argued that, because Dracula is written in the form of diary entries, innit? We could have a case of a unreliable narrator, and then maybe somebody from the crew did survive. But anyway, the movie has been directed by Andre Ovredal, Mortal, Troll Hunter, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and also, I'm sure he's the director of The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is an amazing film. I'm sure that's him. Troll Hunter's great as well. And written by Bragi F. Schutt, Stefan Ruzovitsky, and Zach... Oh, for God's name! For God's sake, Zach Olkevich, based on the captain's log from Bram Stoker's Dracula. It stars Corey Hawkins in The Heights as Clemens. I told you it was Alien, didn't I? Because Clemens were in Alien 3, wasn't he? A doctor who joins the Demeter crew. Aisling Franciosi, Game of Thrones. I don't know who that is. As an unwitting stowaway. Liam Cunningham, yay! Clash of the Titans and Game of Thrones and Dog Soldiers, etc. As the ship's captain. And David Dastmalchian, Dune. I don't know. As their Demeter's first mate. Is that and it's also in Ant-Man? Baba Yaga! And who played... who were in The Suicide. Is that him I'm thinking of? I don't know. Probably not. The film also features John Briones. I thought we were going to say John Bon Jovi. Ratched, Stefan Kapicic, Deadpool, Nikolai Nikolaev, Stranger Things, and Javier Botet. It. Last Voyage of the Demeter will be released in cinemas on the 11th of August. Watch more trailers, blah, blah, blah. Hey, let's have a look at this. Hopefully we won't get a copyright strike. We won't on Rumble, I don't think, but let's just go for it.
Evil is on board. Powerful evil.
We call him Dracula.
The Demeter, on charter from Romania to London. Shipping private crates. Contents unknown. Out at sea with no land in sight.
This here is Clemens. He's a doctor.
You dress like a learned man.
University of Cambridge. I know my way around the boat.
Our charter has agreed to pay a bonus for timely arrival in London.
Let me show you the ship. This here is Huckleberry. We don't come with like this to give the ewes clear.
Demeter's a fine boat, no doubt.
Something ripped apart the animals.
All the livestock?
This looks like a bite.
Search the ship. Everywhere. Evil is on board.
It's a chupacabra.
Powerful evil.
In the night, it drinks our blood. He is here. We call him Dracula.
He's coming!
Did you see the size of that bloody thing?
I want to kill the cursed thing.
He is on this ship, which means that we will never leave it.
The devil is real. May God have mercy on us all.
You know what? I like the look of that. I like the look of that. I think that's going to be good. But I'm a fan of the director anyway. As I said, I love Trollhunter, the original Trollhunter. And I loved the Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I did in my Friday Night Appointment with Fear a while ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I did like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark as well. That was a decent flick. Right, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. It looks like Dracula is on the ship. We called him Dracula. Lots of thick Eastern European accents, but not in the crew apparently. But anyway, so yeah, looking forward to that. But we know what happens, don't we? We know everybody dies. Do you think the diverse lead? I'm sorry. I don't know what the acceptance thing, what at Cambridge University in 1895-ish, whatever was, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm sure he'll survive. The kid will survive, and we call him Dracula woman. I'm sure she'll survive as well. The lifeboat. They'll get on the lifeboat at the end before it's dashed, at Whitby, and that's how it'll end a bit. We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That looks good. Last Voyage of the Demeter. And if you want another Dracula film, there's that Nicolas Cage one, isn't there? Renfield, which I've heard is good. The Midnight's Edge guys say that's a good film, but I've not seen it. I can't. It'll just be Nicolas. I won't be watching Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I'll just be watching Nicolas Cage. But anyway, next. Jessica Biel replaces Mary Elizabeth Winstead in upcoming sci-fi thriller Ursa Major. Never heard of it, but I just saw the name Jessica Biel and I thought, oh yeah. Looking a bit matronly there, not very glamorous. Could have found a better picture of Jessica Biel. Never mind. Because I'm shallow. There are some shake-ups on Ursa Major, an upcoming sci-fi thriller from the creator of HBO Max's Station 11. Never heard of it. What the hell was that? Oh. Apologies if you heard that. Maybe you didn't, I don't know. Somebody with a loud, I think it's a quad bike. One of the neighbours has got a quad bike who was bombing up and down the street on it. He was a bloody maniac. I hope he crashes. While Mary Elizabeth Winstead was initially on board, along with, I've no idea, Xochitl Gomez, I don't know, I'm sorry, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, to star in the production. Oh, she played America Chavez, didn't she? To star in the production, Deadline is reporting that Jessica Biel has stepped in to take over for the Fargo and Ahsoka actress. I'm going to do that. I'm going to, differentiate. You can moan at me all you want, but we need these differentiation in things. Stop trying to be men. You're women. I don't want to be called Mrs. Johnson or Ms. Johnson, for God's sake. Who apparently dropped out because of scheduling conflicts. Here's the official synopsis. Set on an Earth-like planet where a mother, Beale, and daughter, Gomez, fight for survival while hiding from a group of relentless hunters, with the added threat of an imminent and deadly storm. Natalie, now a teenager, doesn't sound very, Earth-like, Natalie. Sounds very Earth, doesn't it? Begins questioning her mother, Charlie, about who they really are. Oh, Charlie, that's the man spelling. I know that because I used to have a cat called Charlie, and that's how we spelt it. And people used to say, oh, is it a boy? Because I used to put pictures on Facebook and stuff with that spelling. Obviously, the female spelling is EY, isn't it? But anyway, about who they really are. By the way, we spelt it like that because that's how my son wanted it spelling. I said, how are we spelling it? And he said Charlie. So there you go. Anyway, about who they really are, how they got here, and what they need to do to survive. Beale's previous credits include playing Candy Montgomery in Hulu's series Candy. Never heard of it. Pictured above, in makeup and costuming that will very likely be very different from what she dons for Ursa Major. What you showed it for then? A show that chronicles the true crime tale where Beale's character turns out to be an axe murderer. Oh, that sounds interesting. She also starred in the anthology series The Sinner. Again, never heard of it. Which explores how normal people commit violent crimes. Casting change aside, the feature still looks intriguing. Patrick Somerville, who not only ran the Station 11 television series, but also wrote on The Leftovers, heard of that, never seen it, co-created the Netflix miniseries Maniac, and created the sci-fi series Made for Love on HBO Max. I'm supposed to be this geeky person, and I've never heard of any of these series. Anyway, it's got a solid track record, as do the directors, Jonathan and Joss Baker Kin. It will be a different film, however, with Beale in one of the starring roles instead of Winstead. Tony from Hack the Movies will be disappointed, although he does like Jessica Biel, but he does kind of shine a torch, or hold a torch, whatever. for Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Don't know why. Whether it'll be a worthy watch is something we'll have to wait a while to find out, however, as there's no official release date yet for the movie. But there we go. I just thought I'd do it because I like Jessica Biel. She's very statuesque. She's an Amazon. I mean, have you seen her in Stealth? Oh. Or, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Among others. She was in that other film, wasn't she? That it came out about the same time as The Prestige. She was in a similar film about, magicians and stuff and illusionists. I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called The Illusionist. I can't remember. But she was good in that as well. Right. Doctor Who. Fortnite Doctor Who crossover details may have been leaked. I've never played Fortnite. I've tried to play it, but I didn't know what to do. I downloaded it. Is it Fortnite I'm thinking of? Yeah, it is. I downloaded it onto my PS5, and I sat there on the menus, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to press. I think I tried pressing, start or whatever, and it just sat there and did nothing. So I didn't know what to do. So I uninstalled it. Because I'm a boomer, although I'm technically Generation X. Early Generation X. With a Doctor Who times Fortnite crossover allegedly set to happen later this year, leaks have been posted letting us know what we can expect. Because remember, Fortnite can have canon repercussions. We were talking about canon earlier on. They did a Star Wars one, didn't they, before Rise of Palpatine came out, where they did how we found out about Palpatine coming back. That was in Fortnite. With Palpatine's voice, booming apparently. I don't know, I've never played it, so I don't know. I think I've seen YouTube videos of it. Which is described in the crawl on Rise of Palpatine. Anyway, information of the supposed crossover event between Doctor Who and Fortnite have continued to seep through the internet. However, it now seems a bit more likely thanks to recent leaks detailing some of the cosmetics that might be available. This news comes courtesy of well-known Fortnite leaker iFireMonkey, who shared initial findings last week. Now, a combination of screenshots and file details have gone into further detail about the event. This may launch to celebrate the upcoming 60th anniversary of Doctor Who later this year. And here's the tweet. The item shop cosmetics are part of the Doctor Who times Fortnite collaboration would be outfits, the 14th and 15th Doctors, glider, TARDIS, I don't know what this means, emote, psychic paper, pickaxe, sonic staff, Dalek, what? There would also be a bundle for these cosmetics, and there's the 14th and 15th Doctor, although technically there's the 10th Doctor, and being the 10th Doctor again. The leak suggests that players may be able to take on the role of either the 14th Doctor David Tennant, 10th Doctor, or the newest Ncuti Gatwa. Additionally, the leaks hint at a 2-week event that will feature free cosmetics as well as purchasable items. Furthermore, it looks as though players will be able to get their hands on skins for the aforementioned Doctors, as well as a TARDIS glider and an emote. I've no idea what they're talking about. The emote will feature the Doctor's psychic paper. More free rewards will include a time vortex trail and a sonic screwdriver wielding emote. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Another tweet here. Here is an image of the unit advanced rifle, a part of the Doctor Who Fortnite collab. Also here some descriptions used for the in-game cosmetics. I know these teeth, 14th Doctor skin. Let's hope the teeth are different this time. 15th Doctor skin. Oh, I said I know these teeth, didn't he, when he regenerated time. The Fortnite map itself looks to be getting Doctor Who themes such as outposts guarded by unit guards armed with sci-fi looking weapons. Leaks have also pointed to the event having some story details that link to the upcoming Doctor Who series. Yes, more. iFireMonkey also mentions that an in-game paid bundle could be made available. With the codename Drums, fans of the sci-fi franchise think this may be alluding to the Doctor Who villain, the Master. This is mainly because said villain was tortured by a drumbeat in his head. As mentioned, these are merely leaks and allegations, so we can take all this information with a pinch of salt. However, it is looking pretty believable and would be a great way for Fortnite gamers to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Are you excited for this potential crossover event? Let us know across our social media platforms. And there's Clarkson. So there we go. That's it. I've never played Fortnite. I've tried, but I didn't know what to do because I'm stupid and old. But there we go. Doctor Who's coming to Fortnite. It seems. Right, finally, the last one. A list. End on a list. Top 5 sci-fi TV shows that got cancelled too soon. Bet you can't guess what number 1 is. I have had a look at this one. But anyway, am I going to have to move this? I think I am, aren't I? Obviously, there's the what they call it now? Serenity. Oh, God. Brain fart again. To move that over a bit now, aren't I? There we go. Right, the television industry is full of tales of what-ifs and unfulfilled potential, from brilliant pilot scripts that never saw the light of day to shows cancelled before their time. Sci-fi fans these days have plenty of excellent options for premium viewing, such as Netflix's Black Mirror and Love, Death and Robots, both excellent, as well as the upcoming Hulu revival of Futurama. Really? Oh, right. I stopped watching that years ago. Same with Simpsons and, all them. Family Guy. But when I do see him, I enjoy him. But anyway. But there was a time not long ago when science fiction programming was under constant threat of cancellation, whether it was because of their enormous budgets and set pieces or their ensemble cast. Here are 5 of the best sci-fi shows that were cancelled too soon. Right, Almost Human, 2013 to 2014. I think I saw this. Did I see it all? I can't remember. But what I saw of it were okay. Anyway. Almost Human was a beloved... oh, excuse me, I had another drinky. I'm getting a bit hoarse. Almost Human was a beloved cyberpunk crime drama that aired on Fox for a single season nearly 10 years ago. Can't believe it's so long. Yes, I did see it. It's a Carl Urban in it. The series was produced by J.J. Abrams and starred the boy's lead actor, sorry, I'm snotting, Carl Urban, as a grizzled detective with a cybernetic leg. The series takes place in the year 2048, where rapid advancements in science and technology have led to an enormous uptick in crime, as well as a militaristic police force composed of humanoid androids to pick up the slack of the human cops. Despite being regarded as one of the best sci-fi shows of its time, and even being nominated for an Emmy Award, Fox didn't seem to see the value in the series, cutting it loose after concluding its 13-episode single-season order. In the old days, that'd be a half season, wouldn't it? Though Almost Human doesn't tend to come up often in casual conversation, a brief viewing of the series would prove that it holds a great deal of influence, inspiring a number of sci-fi programmes that came after it. The series also starred Michael Ealy, Pirates of the Caribbean's Mackenzie Crook, and Barry's Michael Irby. Yeah, I did enjoy Almost Human. Although it was kind of a bit... Me being old, I remember a series called Holmes and Yo-Yo about a cop teaming up with a robot. A human-looking robot. But anyway, less said about that, the better. Sense8, never seen it. 2015 to 2018, so it got more than one season. Right. For years, Sense8 served as a high watermark for scripted Netflix sci-fi programming, often regarded as one of the best sci-fi shows of its day. Throughout 2 excellent seasons, Sense8 followed an ensemble cast of 8 strangers who find themselves connected by a shared telekinetic ability. Oh, pardon me. It's the talking and breathing and stuff that I end up burping. The series starred several known actors such as Kill Bill's Daryl Hannah and Lost's Naveen Andrews, as well as an international cast of actors renowned in their home countries such as Max Remelt and Doona Bay. I don't know which any of them are. Well, none of them's Daryl Hannah, are they? Not that I can tell. Anyway, developed by the Wachowski sisters. Remember when they used to be the Wachowski brothers? I'm sorry, I'm just saying. Why did you say the Wachowskis? Then you're not having idiots like me, going on. As part of the duo's first foray into television, the series carries many distinct writing and directing choices that will seem highly familiar to fans of the Matrix film series. Citing budgetary constraints, Netflix cancelled the series after 2 seasons, but allowed the Wachowskis to conclude it on their terms via a 2-hour-long extended special finale. Well, that were good of them. Well, Netflix always cancelling stuff, because the Netflix way is that if a series loses 50% of its audience from the first episode to the last episode, it gets cancelled, no matter how popular it is, if you know what I mean. Even if it's well regarded, that's what I'm trying to say. If it loses its audience, it gets cancelled. Right, Dollhouse, there she is, I forgot her name, but for some reason everybody thinks she's the most gorgeous thing on the planet. I don't. No, there we go. Dollhouse was a groundbreaking science fiction series that explored a number of intense themes, including the programmability of the human brain. Joss Whedon, it's a bit like Joe 90, to be honest. Joss Whedon created the series following his immense success with his previous shows Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Firefly. Despite only airing for 2 seasons over a decade ago, Dollhouse is largely considered one of the best sci-fi shows, touting an all-star cast including Eliza Dushku, Frank Kranz and Enver Gjord. I did like Dollhouse, I must admit, it was pretty good. The series received critical acclaim and subsequently garnered cult status in the years since its cancellation, though the show was plagued with low ratings throughout its run, ultimately leading it to being axed by Fox after just 2 seasons. Dollhouse is largely considered a classic example of Whedon's trademark blend of science fiction humour and drama. However, the Marvel filmmaker has since gone on to be cancelled himself due to a series of alleged abusive behaviours on set. Who hasn't been cancelled in Hollywood these days? But yeah, I did quite enjoy Dollhouse, but I don't know what people saw in Elijah Dushku. Yeah, she's fine, but nothing special. The OA 2016 to 2019, never seen it. I always mix it up with the OC. Is that right? Which I've never seen either. Which is probably why I've not watched this, because I don't know. The OA was a sci-fi mystery series that began airing in 2016 following Britt Marling's Prairie Johnson, a young woman who suddenly and miraculously appears after having been missing for over 7 years. In addition to returning from her presumed dead status, Johnson can see for the first time, having mysteriously cured her blindness. The series was created and executive produced by Britt Marling in collaboration with that person, Zal Batmanglij. Is that a real name? Is it? Are you sure? With Batmanglij. I'm sorry. Directing all 16 episodes. Is it a woman or a man? I don't know. I'm going to look it up. I've got to know. I have. We've got to know who Zal Batmanglij is, just for the name. Paste. It's a fella. There he is. Zal Batmanglij. It doesn't look anything like Bruce Wayne, does he? Zal Batmanglij is an American film director and screenwriter. There we go. He's 41 years old and he's from France. There we go. So it's probably not pronounced Batmanglij, but, I'm going with it. The OA is one of the most heartbreaking entries on this list, as Netflix unceremoniously cancelled it on a cliffhanger ending. According to Marling and Batmanglij, the series did have a planned ending, leaving Netflix's decision baffling to audiences. I never saw it, so I don't know. Many of whom initially believed the cancellation announcement was some meta-marketing ploy. Despite the cliffhanger ending, the series is still regarded as one of the best sci-fi shows of its day, though the question of whether the series will ever get a satisfying conclusion remains to be seen. I didn't see it. I didn't even see it. And Firefly, which of course I have seen, and I've got the DVD set. And there's Mal Reynolds. In a move that should shock absolutely nobody, our final entry in this list is the Nathan Fillion-led sci-fi series that continues to break our hearts to this day. If ever a show existed that was cancelled too soon, it was Firefly, leaving internet jokes and memes to recognise the show more for its status as a cult classic, axed before its time, than for its terrific writing and sci-fi concepts. Set 500 years in the future following a civil war amongst federations across the universe. No one. It's all set in one solar system. Anyway. A small transport ship takes on various jobs to scrounge up enough money, because there's no light speed and stuff like that. That's why it's all set in one solar system. A small transport ship takes on various jobs to scrounge up enough money to scrape by in the distant and unending vacuum of space. Though the series has been hailed as a classic since its inception, even earning 9 out of 10 stars by reviews on IMDb, Fox only gave Firefly a single season consisting of 14 episodes. Like I said, a half season. Nielsen ratings led the network to believe that nobody had been watching the series, though it is now widely regarded as one of, if not the best, sci-fi shows of all time. The series launched Nathan Fillion's career. Well, not really, we're in Buffy, weren't it? Prompting a number of questions regarding the possibility of a revival to this day. And that's it. But they don't even mention Space Above and Beyond. That was an amazing series. What about Space 1999? That got cancelled after 2 seasons. What else? Loads of stuff got cancelled, didn't they, that were good. Invasion, that were good. I liked that. That one about water. What do they call that one now? Surface, that were good. I enjoyed that. That got cancelled. Threshold, that's another series that got cancelled. All these after 1 season, or half a season or whatever. Threshold, that were another one. Let's say the list could go on. These are just off the top of my head. Stuff that I did enjoy that got cancelled. That one. What they call it now? I forgot what they call it with Drew Barrymore. Where she's a zombie or whatever. She's got to eat human flesh or whatever. That one. What do they call it now? Some diet thing. I forgot what they call it now. I enjoyed that as well, and that got cancelled, didn't it? That ended on a bit of a cliffhanger as well. Anyway, there we go. See Jessica Chastain as Star Trek's new Dr. Crusher. No, I don't think so, because that's a lie. So I've just seen it over there, and I'll move it over for you so you can see. That's what I'm talking about there. Look. But it's not. It's just some website. Maybe it was a giant freaking robot, I don't know. But they just did an AI version. I think they typed in Jessica Chastain as Dr. Crusher, and it did it for them. Anyway. Right, so we'll leave it there. I've done now. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.